What's going on, everybody? Another episode of the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. I am your humble host, Austin, a.k.a. More Than an Agent. Here with my Dominicano hermano, John Soto. John does real estate. Here on today's guest. First off, sorry, I'm moving too quickly. How are you, John? I'm trying to stay down to business.
Wonderful. I'm doing wonderful today.
I'm sorry to go
excited
straight to
today's
business.
guest. I feel a little underdressed with today's guest,
Yeah,
but
right. No
Same.
such thing.
I got on Rip Cargo, so that's another story. So,
Cashmere turtleneck, though.
you know, right?
Cashmere.
Business up top, party at the bottom. You know what I mean? Being out the fashion mullet, the fashion mullet right there.
That's the theme.
Listen, today's guest, if again, like a couple of our guests, but today's guest awesome because he's almost like my real estate big brother, I'd say.
Thank you, bro.
Someone that you can always, be able to tap into. And today's guest is an innovative thought leader, especially in the real estate space, especially in the community. Definitely is a true. Leader is too underwhelming. I'm trying to make sure I landed on the right word, but a true pioneer, a true pioneer in the sense of what he's trying to bring to the table when it comes down to just business and real estate for his community. So, ladies and gentlemen, this man needs no more further introduction. Irv, the Power Broker.
Oh, my God.
Cham, how are you, man?
I'm good, brother. Austin, John, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I'm telling you, I really appreciate you, all the things that I've seen you do as well as John. I remember we connected earlier in your career, and all of the things that you said that you were going to do, you did that plus more. So it's an honor to sit next to you and see that the heights that you've climbed into your career, as well as your investments, and then in the community, as also your maturity too. Like it's good to see good brothers doing great things. So I applaud you too, bro. Giving
One day at a time.
And also John the flowers too. Like this brother, although he in the gym, you could tell like clearly he outworks me out. Like he does his thing.
Jumping grinder.
But it's not just that, but I also see him at open houses. He's working with clients. He's investing. He's with his family, which is remarkable, and it's good to see our brothers, black and brown, working together and doing amazing things and spreading good things out in the media. So blessings to you guys. I really appreciate this, and I appreciate the podcast because this is a great catalyst to get out some good information, some good data, and also be role models for other folks in the community and also in real estate. So kudos to you guys. Flowers.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that is the goal, bro. Just to be kind of the number one podcast for New Jersey, at least, tapping in, global, bringing everybody together. Global. Yeah. The first goal. You take over Main Street, and then you take over the New Jersey Turnpike, right?
Yep, that's it.
And then from there, it spreads out, for sure, though. But, we're thankful for having New Jersey real estate and business professionals helping us to bring that value and bring that content to everyone that is paying attention. And, that's our goal. That's our consistent goal. And, we're going to keep on rocking with that. And we're thankful for guests like you for continuously tapping in. So let's get started here. So, usually we'll ask, where, how'd you get started and things like that. But here's a little bit of a twist of it, because I'm pretty sure it helped mold into, everything that you're doing now. Yep. But tell me about where you grew up and how that had an impact on how you do business and why you're so invested in giving back.
I love that. So I was born in East Orange. Grew up EO.
You EO? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Grew up in Irvington and Newark, right? Irvington is where I resided. Newark is where I went to school. Those communities, I'll tell you, East Orange is just a historical aspect of it. And the fact that, that was one of the first towns, one of the first cities. I remember in one of your earlier podcasts, I was able to tell you, like, it was the first opportunity that I had to really kind of get my name out there and be able to really show my work in terms of my investing, my political influence, my political affluence as well, and just being able to understand what a true steward of the Lord's work could do in a community. Just being able to navigate that and being able to showcase that and changing the demographics of areas, changing how it looks socioeconomically, public safety, and all that other stuff. That was all East Orange. That's for sure. Shout out to Mayor Ted Green. Shout out to Councilman Berkson Lennius. Shout out to the entire East Orange City Council, as well as all the political figures there that allowed me to do those things. And last but not least, shout out to God, right? Like, we always got to give God and the higher power he has control of the future. So without him, I know I wouldn't be here. So to get back into the story, I wanted to end it with that God piece, because I think that there's nothing short of blessings that got me to from where I was to where I'm at now, simply because I grew up in Irvington on Montrose Terrace off of Grove Street. And this was like early 90s, late 80s. One of the toughest areas in terms of what's happening with, like, you know, drugs, gangs, all that other stuff, all the stuff, the stereotypical stuff that we know about in the community. That's where I grew up. A lot of my friends, we had a pretty tight-knit community. Our block was pretty strong. We started off playing as kids, you know, the basketball, shooting basketball in the crates, kicking the cans up and down the street, playing taps and all that other stuff. So those were the things that's how we started. And I'll tell you, as we got older, teenage years, a lot of my friends, things were happening to them, right? Like, some of them got caught up into the streets. We lost some of them due to, like, gun violence. Some of them were arrested, things of that nature. So it was easy for me to fall into that mix, but with God's help, the prayer of parents and grandparents and family, we were blessed enough to be able to leave and go into Maplewood, live into Maplewood, and I was able to kind of escape that destination for my future. And that's why I give real estate the nod, right? You have to give respect to real estate, because we don't understand what we do in terms of, at least I know that we understand it, but I think the public doesn't understand what we do in terms of taking families from one area or one point in their lives and putting them into the best and the highest and best version of themselves, right? People think that it's just about a transaction, but it's not about a transaction. It's about us being able to change the trajectory of a family or a person's entire life, whether they're battling domestic violence, whether it's gang violence, whether it's just a socioeconomic space that's not going to help them and their family or anyone in their future. They're able to go into a different place and build and start fresh and have a better place to kind of build that foundation. And that's what people like you and John do, right? Like, you as a real estate agent, you're in the area, you're doing your thing, just moving people, navigating the spaces, understanding what they're going through in terms of their finances, their mental, their emotional, because especially in our communities, like, when you're talking about a $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 investment, it's like, wait, what? Like, I've never even seen that money, and you want me to just sign my life on the line, right? And then you having to explain the finances behind that and get them to trust you, right? Because they have so many guards up, because they heard of all of the things that's happened throughout the financial crisis, people going to foreclosure, people getting swindled and stuff like that. And you guys being able to navigate that space and get them through those barriers and seeing them to the finish line and being able to see the final product is like, yo, I was able to change these people's lives, right? So these are things that I find, like, without this industry, without professionals like you guys and like myself, like, I think our community would be in a dismal place. So I'm happy to see our brothers out there doing these things and making sure that our people, our community, are making great decisions. And that's why I said this is not even my work. This is God's work. Because I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't be here without him.
100%. I 100% agree with you. When it comes to a transaction, there's so many emotions involved. There's so many moving parts. And for someone like us within our community, we didn't grow up to any of those documentations, any of those numbers, any of the terminology when it comes to buying real estate. So I always try to give my clients all the information they need, and they make the best decision they have for their family.
Absolutely.
What do you? So when did real estate like first come into the picture? Did you see it before? Was your family involved? How did that? Did that happen when you were in Maplewood? When did that come into
When
play?
the trigger point, yeah.
So my father, I grew up on 120 Walnut, which is a project in East Orange, and then my father, he did his thing, went to Uppsala University, started working for Prudential, doing his thing, bought a house, a 2-family in Irvington, which is amazing. And I just started seeing like the dynamics of my friends and me, right? Like my friends, they were constantly moving. They were in apartments. They were talking about landlords being evicted and things of that nature. And my father was a landlord, right? And we had the same tenant for the entire time we were there. Mr. and Mrs. Allen, they were an older couple, black couple, super cool from the South, raised their entire family in our house. And I'll tell you, like being in that foundation, like that type of environment compared to like some of my friends, it was completely different. Watching my father work on the house, that led me to start messing with his tools, especially when he went to work. So I would unscrew like as kids, if you got kids watching this, don't listen. But I would unscrew the cover plates on the plugs and all that stuff. Take the doors off the hinges, go in the bathroom, unscrew the knobs to the bathroom doors. Being a terror. Even doing like going into the basement, messing around with the boiler, but I became so handy though, because my father was working so much. So if anything went wrong and I was watching him, I was able to do it myself. I was like, okay, I could fix this. And it would be me and my mom. And sometimes at that time, my mom and my dad would work. So my grandma had to come in and she was watching me and, she was older, so I could just do whatever.
Did you ever hurt yourself?
Not really. Maybe like pinch some with pliers and stuff like that. But wait! I did electrocute myself a couple of times.
I was about to say you're playing with face plates. Like what?
So I electrocuted myself a couple of times, but then I got used to it. So it's like I understood, and I told you, like I could tell you that removed most of the fear of anything in terms of like working on houses or anything like that. But that was kind of like my intro to understanding real estate, understanding property, understanding construction. And it led to just me and I don't think I've ever talked about this, but when I was a child, I had a vision of me being an important businessman. Right, a lot of times where they were saying, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I was like, "I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer." But when I would close my eyes at night, I would just see like I'm sitting in the office in a suit. Maybe it's because sometimes I saw my dad like that. But that was just the vision that I've always had. And to touch on the importance of just manifestation, like regardless of what I went through in my life, like that was always a destination, regardless of what it was, whether it's me hanging around with the wrong crowd, getting in trouble, doing all the wrong things. Like I would be more upset about me not aligning myself with that destination than anything else. The consequences were nil to me. It was more so the destination. Like, yo, this is not the vision I had for myself. What am I doing? This is not the destination I have for myself. This is like, this doesn't align with the businessman, because you remember when we were growing up, like people like us, dressed like us wasn't really the cool thing. It was more so you got to be like, you got to be the cooler guy with all the stuff and the stereotypical stuff that we see on most of the music and the hip hop and all that stuff. Like that's who you wanted to be: the baggy pants, the sagging pants, the big clothes. Like that's what it was. So I fell into that trap. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say like I didn't fall into the trap of the hood or anything else and being gangster or anything like that. Like no, I fell into that trap. Because it was what was in my environment. It was what my friends were. It was what I saw there. But in the back of my mind, I always knew like, nah, man, you're better than this. You're gifted. Like you got something. Like you have a purpose here. You just got to align yourself with that purpose. So throughout life, I always realign myself back into that purpose, back into that destination. So that's how I ended up into real estate. There's an entire pathway. I graduated high school, went to Union County College. From Union County College, I was there was a Bank of America. It was called MBNA at the time, but a Bank of America person that came to the college and started talking to people. I was like 19, 20. Went through the interview process. The guy Bob Winfrey, he's now like a big dog at Chase. He's like a COO, CMO of one of the Chase operations. But I interviewed with him. He was like, "You don't really like. You're not typically the person I would hire, but there's just something about you. I want to give you a shot, right?" So he put me in telesales activations, which was just cold calling people, getting them to open up credit lines, rich people, having conversations with them. They're talking about putting money down on their yachts and all this other stuff, and I was telling them like, yeah, you need another yacht. Why not? Like you need all that stuff.
You need another yacht.
So, but I'll tell you, at that age, 19, 20, get into corporate America, it was dope, man. Like it was the space. Then there was, I went up and down the corporate ladder, got into risk operations, back into the branch, then went back into risk operations. We did the countrywide portfolio. We acquired the countrywide portfolio, and then all hell broke loose. Right? Like the economy crashed 2008, 2009. They started laying people off. Things started changing. I made some really good contacts with some asset managers. Got into property management. From the property management space, I was like, all right, bet. This is cool. I met a lot of realtors while I was in the property management space. Saw that's like, all right, this is good money. Tapped into it. Left the property management and just went full throttle into real estate. In between that time, while I was at Bank of America, I went through the Essex County Carpentry Program. Became a certified carpenter, started a construction company on the side, stuff like that. So that's why I even got even more handier, more knowledgeable in construction and stuff like that too.
Did you go as as an individual agent, or did you join somebody's team first, or like
individual agent?
You joined as an individual agent. Okay. I got you.
At Coldwell Banker in Maplewood.
Okay, so you were there the entire time.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, one of my best friends, his brother, I'm not going to mention their name, but his brother was a broker at the time, and I wanted to go see him, right? It's my boy. My boy's brother watched me grow up, and I was like, hey, look, I just got my real estate license. I want to join your office. He was like, I don't think it's the right time. It's the worst time for you to get in real estate. And he's a brother. He told me, I think it's the worst time for you to get in real estate. You shouldn't do this.
Opposite.
What? Yeah. And then I was like, okay, no problem. I walked into, and I always give credit and respect to the person when it's due. I walked into the Coldwell Banker in Maplewood. Michael Panisi was there. I was like, yo, I want to get into real estate. He was like, yo, bro, absolutely, you could do this. Like, when do you want to start? And I mean,
how
and it went from
different
there.
your career would have been if the first person would have said yes.
So that's why I want to talk about the failures, bro. Like that you want to talk about the rejections. I think those are important. Oftentimes we talk about the destination, but I think the journey is just as important because the lessons are truly in the journey.
Let's actually, that's a perfect segue because I also wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying. I love the analogy when you were like, I don't care if I get derailed. I don't care about the setbacks or the consequences from the wrong actions or anything like that. As long as like I'm always coming back to that alignment, right? Yep. And if you imagine just like a straight line, which is like the straight path, which if you were absolutely perfect as an individual, you would just walk that straight path straight into your destination, right? But you don't. You stumble, you trip, you go this way, you come back to it. You stumble and trip the other way, you come back to it, right? And then, but as long as you're moving forward, no matter what, you eventually are still going forward. So tell me about those times where you got derailed, or I guess the top three and what came out of it that you can remember. The top three and what came out of it.
We just spoke about with the brokerage.
Yeah, so that hurt. That hurt because in the back of my mind, even when I was in real estate school, I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna go to my boy's brother. We're gonna wild out. We're gonna have a good time.
Gonna take care,
yeah,
take
he's gonna
over.
take care. Yeah, it's gonna be a takeover.
It's like meeting your favorite celebrity and then they're an asshole.
You feel me? You feel me? You feel me? Like, and I mean, that was painstaking. But it was one of those things where I liked it though. It was motivation.
Right.
I liked that. It was fuel to my fire. I was like, all right, bet. So now I'm gonna go here, and I'm going to build something amazing, and I'm gonna look back one day, and you're gonna be behind me. And that happened. That happened a couple of times.
Has that person reached out to you to try to pull you in?
What do you mean? No, they haven't. I've reached out to basically they did reach out, but not to pull me in, but they reached out for me to give them an opportunity.
Damn.
Yeah. And I say that in the most humblest way possible. With all due humility. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But it's just one of those things. Like it happens. But I just tell you, it's one of those things where you never want to treat anyone any different, no matter who they are. Like, regardless of whether they're the janitor or the CEO, you want to treat them equally and give them all the opportunity, give them all the knowledge that they need, because you never know who they can be or who they will be in the future.
Or who they were.
Right? I've learned more from people that have been strung out on drugs, people that are in rehab, people that are homeless, than I have from like the most educated PhD, doctorate type of folks, simply because their failures, they'll tell you more about their failures, and you'll learn more from their failures than you will from someone and their successes, simply because the person that has all those successes, you don't know what alignments, you don't know what connections, you don't know what they've done in order for them to get there. But the people that have failed, they'll tell you about their entire process of what not to do. Because everybody will tell you, oh yeah, you need to go to Princeton, you need to go to Yale, you need to take these classes, you need to go to this or join this network. But nobody's going to tell you, you need to stay away from this. You need to watch out for this. When the biggest mistake I made was thinking this. Like, nobody's really going to tell you that. And that's a real conversation. It's like, oftentimes we tend to glamorize people that are super successful, right? Like, oh yeah, this person made it to the top, they're a CEO. But nah, what about the person that's been struggling for the past 20 years, that has started from like truly started from the bottom and worked their way somewhere, even at the midpoint. But because they started from the bottom, their journey has so much experience in it. What they can share with you can change, way more passion and resiliency too. What they share with you, that type of knowledge that they give you is probably worth 100 different lifetimes, right? Because you got to understand, like, typically people think that a human has one lifetime, right? I'll tell you, I'm probably on my 4th or 5th. Simply because there's a part of you that dies when the next part of you grows, right? It's part of metamorphosis. It's very similar to like a butterfly, right? The caterpillar to the butterfly. We got to understand that there's a part of you that dies, and then there's a rebirth of you, and then you go, and then you kill this other version of you, and then there's another rebirth of you. Yep. And usually there's something that happens in your life that triggers that.
Right.
And I would say the most important thing as people, what we got to do is being able to recognize that and making sure that you're aligning yourself in the right way and preparing yourself for when that change comes, for you to make those hard decisions.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good,
yeah, because as you grow and go to the next level, you most of the time lose relationships.
Yeah, and they come in different sagas. Yeah. Okay, so So give us one of the failures that was, kind of that axe that chops up, the end of this particular saga of your life, and now like is the phoenix that starts the new, the new saga.
Okay. One of the toughest ones was back in the day. I was riding around with my friends. We were in a car, and this is the typical story. Like, we're riding around in a car, or whatever the case may be. We get pulled over. And it's not anything crazy. It's just we're in the wrong place at the wrong time. We got pulled over, and the cops went crazy. It was a late night, and we just were in the wrong place at the wrong time, wrong car, and it happened, right? The stereotypical stopping the black people, the black boys in the car, whatever, like that. That's exactly what happened. And it escalated quick, simply because, we know that we weren't doing anything wrong, and it's just one of those things. And like I've never told this story. A cop put his, they put a gun to the back of my head, right? Like, just to chill, relax, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, this is real. And at that point in time, I knew, like, you know what? Yeah, they might be wrong, but I'm wrong too because I know better. I should not be here. I should not be running around in this area at this point in time. I should not do that. I know better. And simply because there are societal factors that we're not going to be able to change. We're not going to be able to change those things. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to change those things. But you know what? It was my fault. I knew better. And then from that point forward, and I think everything happens for a reason, because from that point forward, like, I totally changed everything. Like, I changed my circle, changed my mindset, everything changed because I literally saw my life flash before my eyes. Not so much what what was like, what could have happened, whatever, but more so like this can derail the direction I'm trying to go to. Right? This interaction could derail that. So I want to avoid that going forward. So I think that was one of those moments where it was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, we need to do something. And that was just that moment, but there's so many other moments that we have in our lives that we're at the fork in the road and we choose to make a decision, and that decision is to make or break the future. And we must not think selfishly at that time. We must not think selfishly. We must think selflessly. Simply because that there's each and every one of us have blessings and we have gifts that the Lord has bestowed upon us, right? And those blessings and those gifts, it's up to us for us to give it back to the world. When we make those decisions, we hinder the process as us giving back to the world. We hinder those processes. We hinder that. So that's why when that fork in the road decision comes, like, yes, selfishly, you want to say, yeah, I want to go here because this is what I want to do. But you got to think about the higher power and the Lord and God, like what he wants you to do and the blessings that he's bestowed upon you in order for you to get from point A to at least point F. And if you start derailing and you start acting selfishly, you are missing out. The world is missing out on the gifts that God has given it through you. Right. So you just got to make sure that you're making those right decisions and stuff like that. And that's a big responsibility. And that's why I think that, like, we need to always, like, check our mental health, just check the things and the people that we have around us, making sure that we got the right folks around us, making sure that we're doing the right things, the meditation, the working out and all that stuff, so we can detox and we can see things clearer and we can understand what our true gifts are. What's your why? What's the destination, the path, the people that you're supposed to impact? Like, I never believe, like, in randomness. Like, I think everything happens for a reason. Like, there's a reason why we're having this conversation, right? There's a reason why you guys chose to start this podcast.
One person's life today with this episode.
Absolutely. Right. Like, someone is going to watch this episode, like John said, and it's going to be like, yo, I need to do something, man. I got to find my why. I got to align right with whatever I need to align right with. Like, whatever is in my heart, I'm going to follow that, because with that, that's what's going to change the world, because each one of us has it. Unfortunately, a lot of it dies on the side of hospital beds because people don't tap into it. But that's not going to happen, though. Not when someone watched this episode, or not when someone speaks to one of the two of you guys, or even myself. You guys are going to be able to tap into that person. The next person that comes on the show, y'all going to be able to tell them, and they're going to know that whatever they say here is going to be amplified across the world, and that is going to change someone's life. Somebody in humankind in this world is going to watch this and say, all right, look, that podcast, that changed my life. And that's our goal.
You're damn right it is, and that's why this is called the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. And we're trying to give you the blueprint. All right, right before this next segment here, just give us, so that was a good one. Just give us the third one, because the second one, that was great, because that's on the personal development side, right? And that creates the foundation of what you need to succeed in pretty much every aspect of your life. Just give us a third one that help create the professional development.
Okay. I love that. It's the no's. It's the nose. Yeah, the nose, the rejection. Like the
Get
nose.
numb to those nose.
And you think that you become numb to the nose until
You don't.
You don't.
No matter
It still
how
hurt.
long.
It still hurts.
Yo,
Been
it
in
still
the
hurts
business
right now. It
No
still
matter
hurts.
how long, yo.
We can say we're
Bruh.
numb to the nose. It
Oh
just
my
depends
gosh.
on what's going on in that day. That something else is impacting, and it'll hurt even
Yo,
more.
it hurts.
You've heard 1,000,001 no's before, and for whatever reason, you're scared about getting one more no.
I'm
You've
not even-
already dealt with 1,000,000,
Yo,
and you don't want to hear like, yo.
I'm not even afraid of the nose. It's
It's
just when
not.
it comes, it hurts, especially from people that you look up to at times. But yo, I just learned that my way of challenging or channeling the no is like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I need to do like. The Mamba mentality means that basically, you're going to try on a daily basis to do things to make yourself, one thing at least, to make yourself better every single day. I know if I'm good enough, no matter what, if I'm that good, no matter what, you're not going to say no to me. So I work and strive to become better and better and better and so good that you don't have a choice but to say yes. When that happens, that's up to whomever and the higher power. I'm always going to gravitate back because sometimes they're saying no and it's not aligning because that's not what the path is. That's not what your true path is. And that's fine. And as human beings, we need to be able to understand that and be able to pivot.
Right.
If you're getting a no and no and no and no, yes, you could keep trying, but whatever that thing in the back of your mind is, or wherever that when your heart flutters a little bit, that feeling that you get, maybe you should follow that. Because more than likely, that's where your passion aligns, and your passion is usually aligned with the higher power.
Yep.
So I'll say that it's the no's that especially one of the most recent no's that I got. I've been in the market just to elevate my career and build my career and everything else and get to the next place. And within our corporation, I know I've been pretty ambitious as to where I want to be, what I want to do, how I want to get there. And with some of the things that I've asked and positions I've been in, and they said like, nah, bro, like it's not the time yet. You're not ready. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm ready. But it's like, you're not ready. So what I've done is take more classes, network more, work on my professional development, my public speaking and all that other stuff. So when the time comes, it's not like I won't be ready. And I'm going to get so good that they're going to have to say yes. Like someone's going to tell me yes. I just got to keep working on myself to get there.
And I love it because usually when that happens, it's usually a very seamless transition, and it's not met with so much friction and everything like that. Challenging because now you've made it, and now you got to take it further. But like the transition part of it, like is very smooth, and now you're just taking it to however
I love that
higher.
point though. I love what you said because I think with people like us, it's still never going to be enough, and that's what I appreciate, right? Even when you get there, like because where you are today is where you probably dreamed to be, or you thought that you could be 4 or 5 years ago, right? And then now it's not enough. Now you want more. So it's just one of those things. Like, yeah, when I get there, it's going to be fine. But then guess what? I've worked so hard, and I'm gonna want more.
And the real work
I'm gonna keep wanting more, and
But
that's
it's back to the analogy regarding the butterfly. You capped it, and now you're going to the next step.
exactly. So I'm like, kill that version of me, and then I start building this next version. So
I was thinking about that the other day. You know what's fun? Like life's journeys, goals, or like aspirations and everything like that. Like to everybody's point, where you make it to the top of the mountain and you only realize that there's just a bigger mountain, right? But like, what's the cool part about like the Ferrari or the Lambo? It's not the car. Like it's not looking at the car, right? You can't just look at it and get all of it.
The car can get me.
my boy
You would think
sold
so.
his. Yeah, my
Right?
boy just sold his Lambo.
But
He
you
just
know
sold
what?
it, yo.
I'm not surprised. You know the interesting part about like the type, like the car, and it's not driving the car because you could be driving to the grocery store. Is that fun? That's not what you get the Lambo for, right? But when the acceleration on the highway is probably the funnest part.
Yeah.
The moment that you reach, and we've all driven this, the moment that you reach 90, you You sit there for about 30 seconds, 90 starts to feel like 20.
Yup.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the acceleration. So with anything goal-wise, so to your point,
Back to the journey.
and it's the acceleration that is the fun part. It's the acceleration that really hits the dopamine, right? So like it's the grinding towards the goal, right? And then once you get it, it's like, all right, now you're at 100 miles an hour. You're still going mad fast.
But it's not fast
Mad
enough.
fast.
Now you're used to it.
But now you're used to it.
Yeah.
And now it feels like you're going 20.
Yeah.
So now you won't get that next dopamine hit until you downshift, open that thing up, and then now you're going to $150. Now you're going to $185. Now you know what I mean?
I know.
Not for the cars, but like obviously it's a metaphor, right? But it's the acceleration that's the fun part, which is the true like.
And what we have to be super cautious about too, and again, it's the grounding part of it. Don't get into that proverbial rat race too, where we're chasing like the luxuries and we're chasing titles and we're chasing money and we're forgetting about the important things is impacting people, family, things that you can't buy, right? Like those are the most valuable things to me. Like I have, like in my mind, I got all the things that I want in terms of materialism, right? I have all the things. What I can't buy, time with my family, time with my friends, moments, health, just the ability to be like, to feel good and to be happy for a long period of time, right? People like, oh, happiness. And this is just my opinion. I don't want anyone to take this as word, but I think happiness comes in moments. Like we're used to being just living and going through life, and happiness comes in moments. A lot of people tend to try to chase happiness, and they put these things in their life to quote unquote be happy, but you're chasing the wrong thing because happiness are in the moments. So what you should be doing is creating more of those moments versus chasing the ancillary and the luxuries of life to fulfill that happiness, the proverbial happiness. So I always say like, yo, it's about like moments like this. Like I would forego going out to a lounge and chilling or whatever for us to sit and build like this. Like things like this make me happy because we're making things better, we're making people better, and we're sharing with each other, in which like I'm not afraid to tap in and go to certain parts of my mind or my history or like just mental health or anything like that, because I think that we need to create more spaces like this so we can share with each other regardless of what, because these exchanges, believe it or not, they're emotional exchanges, they're spiritual exchanges, and they're just exchanges in which a lot of people are afraid to have because of the barrier, right? The whole stigma of, we're men, we can't be talking to each other, we can't share with each other, we can't talk about emotions, we can't talk about family, we can only talk about money, chicks, cars, and the gym. Right? But talking about mental health, talking about your future, talking about your failures, something completely different, right? This is something that we can change someone's life, especially mental health. Like so many men suffer with mental health, like we don't even know. And as brothers, we should be tapping in and having conversations. Like I'm the one to text somebody like, yo, what's up, bro? You good today? Just random. I don't even care. Like you good today? Right. Just because you just don't know what they're going through, and we're so the expectations of society is, as men we got to handle everything, and we can't be emotional, we can't do this, we can't do that. But I think that spaces like this creates that ability to be vulnerable and have those conversations, and someone be able to learn and grasp, and maybe we could save someone's life.
How do you work on your mental health, and what do you do on a daily basis?
Ooh, that's a good one, John. What about you? And then we'll come back to me. Yeah, we'll come back to me.
I go to the gym.
Of course.
So, body.
Yep.
I try to eat good, because if I eat crap, I feel like crap.
Yep.
I try to stay focused on my why, family, why I'm doing it, and keep pushing me, and keep focusing on the good things, not the negativity. And I've been praying a lot more and be on the spiritual side, which is really helping me on my end.
Tremendously. Austin, You.
So I'm back.
What's up? Yeah, but you on the spot. What do you hear?
Plane trips? No, I'm playing. So
No, I
like,
see you. No, you're international. That's why I said the show's international because you're
It's
international.
very, it's very, you know, I've had the blessings of being able to travel to a lot of countries, whether it's by myself, whether it was with families, whether it's with relationships.
Yeah.
I've been blessed to have that. For me, honestly, this is a great question.
Be open.
Exercise, yeah. Exercising, and it's a really good one. Exercising definitely, like setting the morning off, definitely is a major attribute. Here's another one that, here's one that like most people don't even like comprehend, right? Mm-hmm. And we was having this conversation on this mastermind group that we're talking about. But when you think about any piece of technology, right, cell phone, laptops, televisions, whatever the case. Mm-hmm. It comes in a box new with the manual, right? Your car comes with the manual, right? The brain is one of the most powerful computers and pieces of technology, which technology is nothing digital. It's just an instrument or a vehicle to make things easier, right? Technology, right? So the brain is the most powerful piece of technology creation, all of it, that we never got the manual for, right? By the time that we even had a manual was probably, 5 years ago, 7 years ago? So we're talking over, 25 years of programming in which we were doing this and operating something without the manual, right? And this is something that we can't watch other people do and then have it impact us, right? And have us learn, right? So one thing is being completely conscious of how the mind works and realizing that thoughts are thoughts, you know what I'm saying? And just trying as best as possible. Meditation definitely helps me out with that, but just operating and knowing that the brain is a wild place.
Yeah.
And even if it is, that means that it's operating exactly how it should.
Absolutely.
Right? We get into the space where because I feel anxious or because I'm feeling terrible about myself or because that there's something wrong with me. And it's just like, no, this is how the brain naturally works. It's just that we never got the manual. So we don't know that it's supposed to do this. Because it's the main job. It's just to keep you safe.
Agreed.
So a lot of our things are rooted in something that can affect our safety, whether it's safety of our ego, which can be bad, safety of our well-being, anything, financial situation, family, whatever the case. And we're going to make the decisions and actions that bring us more pleasure and not deal as much with the pain. So yeah, just tapping into more about how the brain actually works, so that way when it does go off on a tangent or we're in a direction that I don't want it to be, or I'm entertaining thoughts that aren't necessarily favorable, I can reel it back in and knowing that like the brain's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's operating perfectly fine. Let me just switch this gear and I'm gonna go this way. You know what I mean? So that's for now at least.
Okay.
Those are my attempts.
I love that. For me, family for sure. I think being able to forgive a lot. Being able to forgive a lot.
Letting go.
People or yourself?
Both. You have to do both. Being able to forgive a lot. People are human beings, and you can't hold. If God didn't hold their sins against them, how can you as a human being, right? So I say you have to be able to forgive a lot and forget too. Every single memory, bad memory, is an anchor. It's an anchor, and it holds you back, and it creates these barriers, and almost it simulates situations that happened in the past, and it might block you from the blessing that can happen in the future if you still carry that. So very similar to what you're saying in terms of the brain. I know NLP, like some of the neuro-linguistic programming that we have and the things that happen in our brains, and especially as our childhood and our parents and all the things that they put on us too. A lot of that stuff you have to be able to forget. And to forget that, you have to be able to teach the brain newer things. And with that means you have to open up your mind to be uncomfortable sometimes, to do the things that, you know, you may have been afraid to do. Put yourself in those spaces that you may think are dangerous, or you might feel vulnerable. I think a lot of people say fear is the number one enemy. I think vulnerability is. People are afraid to be vulnerable. Especially in interactions with people socially and everything like that. And I know, and this is not countering what you said, but there is a manual, and the manual is the Bible, right? In my opinion,
I like that.
the manual that we have is the oldest book known to man. Prior to man's creation, that's where we got all of our information from, and that's what the detail and the explanations of everything. One of my favorite books in the Bible is Job, and the reason why Job is one of my favorite books is very much similar to you having faith and being resilient, right? He lost his family, lost his riches, lost everything, right? And even his friends asked him to turn against God. And what he did not do was turn against God. He may have had his moments of where he was a little confused, but he still stayed strong. And the blessings came in multiples after that. And I think that's a great example for us with all the things that we go through. Oftentimes we try to say, you know, God made me go through this. No, God would never put you in a bad situation. That's not what he does. But he will allow certain things to happen per se, and your job is to remain faithful, right? Because there's no doubt in the world that there's another power here that's pulling and pushing us to do the wrong things and putting us in the most awkward situations and painstaking situations where it breaks our heart. We might lose people and all this other stuff. But our job is to remain faithful, going back to what I said originally, which was like we all have a gift, and we can't let anything or anyone deter us from that gift, because our gift is to give to other people, regardless of that gift is. Like mine might be being able to bless people with confidence, right? Yours might legitimately be being able to provide them with the opportunity to change their family lives. Yours might be you're the voice of that, right? Like
that's facts. Hell yeah.
So those things are the gifts that we got, and we can't let anything sidetrack us from that, because that's our thing. Like we all are put here for a reason, not to make this like a sermon or anything, but we're all put here for a reason, and even in our business, we should be able to operate within that reason.
Yeah. What time are we looking on time? Okay, as we start on our descent here, so what's next for you? What's one thing that you want Black and Brown, whether young or we'll do young and seasoned agents, what do you want them to know as we continue throughout this year 2025? We're still in the first quarter, so it's still relatively early. What do you want them to know kind of going forward?
Okay, that's a two-part question. What's next and what I want them to know. I think what I'm gonna start off with what I want them to know. I'm gonna say that the industry is not easy. It's not an easy industry. Don't let anyone lie to you. It's going to take work. It's going to take resiliency. You got to align yourself with the right people. Your expectations are equally as important. I would say don't set any false expectations. Be very, very realistic, and always understand your why, and also your network too. Don't think of the money aspect of it. Think about how many people you're going to impact. Impact is the most important thing. You have to always think about who you're impacting, how you're impacting, and everything else will follow. Don't worry about the money. What's next for me? Something big. Like I just feel like something big is coming. Regardless of what that is, where it is, how it is, where I'm going, whatever it is, I feel like something big is going to happen. It's just about me aligning myself and making sure I'm ready to receive whatever that is. And it's also just being around the right people and making sure that you keep your friends in this industry and keep the people that you know that are good, close, like you two good brothers. Like I must say once again how much I appreciate you guys doing this and taking out the time to do this. It's not, I can tell from the other shows that I've watched that you've done, it's not about the money for you guys. It's about just mainly getting the information out there, getting people the opportunity to have a voice, giving voice to the muted. And this message is not just for the black and brown, it's for everybody, because I think that it's going to take a holistic approach in terms of us succeeding and us building the place that we truly want to see and the professionals that we want to see and how we want to see them. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job. Austin, John, like, continue doing this. Don't let this just, stop here or whatever. Like, keep going, keep wanting to grow this, keep building, keep like spreading the seeds across the world, and watch the blessings from the trees and the things that you guys have planted. Like, you guys are doing an amazing job, professionally and personally. I look up to the both of you. So bless y'all for sure.
Appreciate that, man. Without a doubt.
One more question. What's one thing you know now you wish you knew at the beginning of your career for the newer people, for agents, investors, whatever you want to provide?
Oh, don't rely on just the thought of one person. I would always say forever be a student of the industry, forever be a student of the game. And always be learning, right? Like, that's something that is as simple as it sounds. We always think that, I know everything. No, always be learning, man. The industry is ever changing. People change, situations change, laws change.
The one thing that's consistent is change.
Things change. So with that, the best way to prepare yourself for those changes is to don't be as stringent and as tight. You want to be like Bruce Lee says, you want to be like water. You want to be moldable. You want to be fluid. So, and the way for you to do that is building your mental and making sure that you're preparing yourself with the right tools. And I say reading, watching podcasts like The Blueprint. Like, I think that's going to be extra dope for folks. This is stuff that they're going to be able to watch 10 years, 20 years down the line, timeless information that they'll be able to learn from. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to put stuff out there that after we're long and gone, people still be able to, like, very much similar to like Shakespeare and everything else. Like, people are still reading that and learning from all of those peoples like Aristotle and Plato and all that stuff. Like, this is your version of, this is our version of Aristotle and Plato and everybody else in Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So,
I love it, man. We always appreciate tapping in with you.
Yeah, likewise.
That's 150%. We appreciate you definitely coming on the show. And you brought up on our closing kind of point here, you brought up a good point where a lot of people are kind of chasing the happiness and realizing that happiness is just a moment. And, I learned that a few years ago, actually, the difference between happiness and joy, right? And, like, when we're in the business, if, like, a deal falls apart, like, you think I'm going to be happy? Like, no. If a deal, like, falls apart, I'm going to be happy. But I still have joy in what I do.
Absolutely.
No matter what happens. Right?
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So, like, there's definitely a difference. So, and I'm glad that you mentioned, when it came down to just riches, like, within family and everything else as being, like, selfless, because, I brought up the Ferrari example because a lot of people see that as, like,
that's
the end goal, right?
That's the
and it's just, like, people that have it, they'll tell you, like, the fun part is, like, the acceleration, right? So, like, I'm coaching a middle school boys basketball team now, and the acceleration part is watching them progress through.
You that nice in ball? I thought you were a runner. You play ball?
Yeah. No, I was nice. I was nice. Nah, bro. I was nice.
Let the roast begin.
Yeah, I was nice. Like I said, I was nice. I just didn't have that much height. You know what I'm saying? So there's only one. There's only Spud Webb. You know what I mean? Nate Robinson and Muggsy, right? And Isaiah Thomas, right? So like, hey, we're going. It's a little bit harder. Playing behind a couple dudes that's about 6'4". York. But I had a good run though. I ain't even gonna hold you. I had a good run.
We gotta hit the court someday.
Oh
man.
yeah, let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. Yeah. So
We'll go right after this.
Yeah,
that's
with my shoes
do
on.
it all. Do it all,
with my
man.
shoes on.
He's still cooking.
Still getting it popping, yeah, more than an agent, man. You know it. So like that, but to end it out, the fun part is watching it progress. So that's like the acceleration, because God willing, if everything goes well, we win the championship. We're going 120 miles an hour,
Absolutely.
And then you get used to it. So
Yeah.
then it becomes. There's
What's
a
the
reason
next-
why
yeah.
for 2 peats and 3 peats.
Yep.
For that very reason. You know what I mean? If
Absolutely.
not, they would just retire after that. If that was the end goal.
Absolutely.
But it's like, yo, let's run it back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Leave us where people can find you at.
Yeah.
Or just online and everything like that. Just let people
Absolutely.
know where they can find you at.
Yeah, so it's Irv_the_power_broker on Instagram. Irv the Power Broker, Irv Cham everywhere else. And link up with these brothers. You'll find me with these brothers anytime, any day. Austin and John, they're amazing professionals. You could trust them. You could do business with them. They're hungry, and they're going to make sure that they do the right thing each and every time. So definitely reach out to these good brothers for sure. And I'll see y'all soon.
I said Sham before, so that's
Sham is good.
Okay.
Yeah, Sham is actually how my father says it. Like now, I'm Haitian, so clearly.
Shout out. Stop outside.
So my father says it's Sham, but I became Americanized, so I'm like Cham.
I got you.
Like
Okay.
Cham.
That's what happens when you that's what happens when you move to Maplewood.
Yo, you cook. Okay.
We appreciate you. That's getting you back for that ball joke.
I love it.
But again, appreciate you. We gotta get our producer, our engineer Marvin up out here.
Marvin.
As always, Irvin, thank you for stopping by.
No, for sure. Thank you for having me.
To drop some gems, just give us some life values that we can take and some principles,
Yep.
And some virtues that we can all leave with to keep things going. So that way we are able to conduct good energy and good business, not in business solely, but good business for our organizations, our families, for our spiritual, just transactional, good energy being given and received.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you for coming on the show.
Thank you for
Ladies
having
and gentlemen,
me.
I am your humble host, Austin, a.k.a. More Than an Agent, with my co-host, John Soto, my Dominicano hermano. This is the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. Signing off.